a bit strange that Shuhei just made a statement. He did not leave PlayStation of his own volition. It turns out that in 2019, Jim Ryan walked in his office and fired him because he wouldn't basically make only live service slop.
Well, there you go, people. I mean, even EA told you guys themselves that single-player games is not the future of video gaming. It is what it is, people. As much as you guys want to hold on to these exclusives, well, guess what? The Fortnite gamer does not care enough to play your beloved exclusive games. It is what it is, people, man. The vast majority of gamers play nothing but free-to-plays and third-party games. You ponies are still stuck in the past, man. When are you dinosaurs going to go extinct for once, man? The eggs is no longer hatching. What are y'all angry about, man? You prehistoric gamers out here looking all old, 50 and 60 years old, still out here console warring? Nobody gives a flying crap about my exclusives, how Sony used to push the boundaries of gaming. Well, those days is over, buddy. And it's about time you people get over it.
I want to talk about this, but I also want to look at the reactions and kind of just talk about why I feel like this is just a sign about why PlayStation has gotten to this strange point where it feels like Sony does not care about exclusives. Sony doesn't really care about beating their chest and making a good project. Now at this point, PlayStation just wants to sit back and let everybody else make the games for them while they just
games to one another. Who called that out before anybody? I told y'all this, but let's not forget, guys. I don't hear what Dreamcast guys saying because the last time I checked, we got 92 mil. Now all of a sudden the complaints want to come out about PlayStation having a lack of games, lack of exclusives. These things have been going on for the past 6 years, since 2020. And now all of a sudden you guys are like, you know what, this is taking too long. We still ain't seen no gameplay of Intergalactic. We don't know what's going on with Wolverine. I've told you guys this a long time ago. Get every retro game you need. But apparently y'all weren't listening to me. See? I mean, we went from the Gamer 23 to the Brother Jeremy. You know, I mean, I don't feel bad for these people because you guys didn't want to see the writing on the wall. You was too busy looking at Paul Tassi, Tom Warren. You know, the same people you probably gonna bring up in this video. Tom Henderson. Oh my goodness.
Get that 30% cut of every game sold.
Who said that first? Gamester, what another W, man. Like one guy said, man, Gamester, they could take your gaming points and use them in your videos, use them in their videos. But there's one thing they can't not take is the authenticity of my whole channel. And you people know it. That's why you guys continue to watch me. Because everything that I tell you is authentic. No matter how long it takes for it to connect to these little fanboy brain cells that these people have, it eventually gets to them. And I don't mind waiting 6 years to get my W.
They have gotten so incredibly lazy because they've already won.
Well, there it is. They don't need to. There's no desire for Sony to have to push out anything. Because you know why? Like you said, 30%. Microtransactions. But this is where it's going to be a problem with Sony with the PlayStation 6 is because they're going to have a hard time doing that if Microsoft reduces Game Pass. Their console gamers obviously going to buy their next console, especially if it's backwards compat between all of the Xbox catalog, even if it's only solely digital, and that's going to get the Xbox customer to go over. And then the PlayStation gamer that's paying to play Call of Duty online, and they're seeing Xbox gamers playing the game, but they're playing it through either Game Pass, which gives them access to 500 plus games. You're not understanding. They're going to automatically shift to the Xbox Helix because the PlayStation, like you said, doesn't offer anything, and you guys take too long to make games. Maybe Sony will money hat these little niche titles, but at the end of the day, when it comes to the overall games, that's not what people are playing. So go ahead, money hat all you want. These little indie AA games that Sony likes to money hat, okay, go ahead, but that's not going to take the casual gamer, the casual perspective of those. It's not going to do anything. And that's what Microsoft's banking on, man. If anybody's dead, it's PlayStation, because what is PlayStation going to do if Microsoft drops out their new platform with free online multiplayer? All you got to do is pay for Game Pass at a reduced price at $20 like it is on PC. Man, even you pony, even he went as far to say, I think I'd buy an Xbox. Exactly. because you know that Sony's not offering anything. Well, but we still got exclusives. Well, exclusives will not be that much of an impact because they're not that much of an impact right now. People are going to look at the Xbox PC and be like, damn, I get free online, Game Pass for 500 games for $20, got my backwards compatible games from original all the way to the Xbox One and Series, and on top of that, I even get access to Steam and Good Old Games and all these other launchers. And then you guys are wondering as to the only thing that can mess up the Xbox Helix's launch is whatever it's priced at. That is it. But besides that, Microsoft is coming out with a better platform, and you people know it.
One of the things that's the funniest is Shuhei Yoshida, the first time he played Demon's Souls, obviously the predecessor to Dark Souls, he played it.
Hold on, what? What are you talking about? It's the predecessor to Atogi. Oh my, you know what, bro? See, these guys don't know their gaming history. Bro, I tell you, man, we can even go as far back to their From Software game on the PS1, but we ain't even going to do that. We're not even going to do that because that's a little too much for them. We'll stick with Atogi because the game was at least on 3D. But they probably don't know or remember because it was an Xbox exclusive, which you can still buy in your series. It's a great game. I highly recommend you guys buy it.
And said, I really don't understand this. He said, I just don't know how it's going to sell. It seems too hard. There have been some times where he is just such a dyed-in-the-wool gamer. Sometimes it just didn't click with him. But
just like everything I said didn't click with you until now. I know. It's crazy.
Understood the grander vision of it. When will these idiots learn? Good.
Yeah, there you go. When are these idiot fanboys going to learn that you're no longer the market leader and the industry doesn't really give a rat's behind about you?
Good. Sony pivoted away, but look at the damage done. So with LS being live service, Jim Ryan creativity. It is very difficult to make a game at this point. It takes hundreds of people laser focused on a single vision, making.
What also about budget? You see, you're not taking into consideration the budget. It's more than just the developers making the game. That is the least of its problems. It's the budget of how much these games are ballooning up to, especially with these new powerful hardware boxes that Microsoft and Sony want to continue to push out. This is what you guys are not understanding. There's just not enough of you people buying these games. Oh, here we go with the God of Wars yes, that was at a time when Fortnite didn't exist. Oh, Uncharted 4 sold good because there was no such thing as a Fortnite. There was no such thing as an Apex. There was no such thing as a PUBG, a Fall Guys, I think Roblox, but only on Xbox and mobile. There was no such thing of these games. So of course they're going to buy it. But if you notice, when PlayStation 4 did good, because remember, Fortnite was still kind of in the horizon. They didn't have all the dance moves and all the updates that they do now. Remember, it was kind of very bare bones. So people still found the need to play the Uncharted and the God of Wars and all these exclusive games, the Spider-Mans and all that. But once those games have taken over, like Fortnite, NBA 2K with the Playground Park, remember? When they started adding the social MMO aspect to the NBA 2K franchise, you started noticing a shift. You're like, damn, Gamester, you're right. You're absolutely right, because I remember back then the NBA 2K was team up in the head up, but as soon as they added that open world where you can make your own character, do your own, all crossovers and dunk moves and all that, like an MMORPG, you started noticing these games started taking over. And your games got forgotten. And they don't want to go back and play those games because they don't find them that engaging. Sorry. It is what it is.
Really reaching to the depths of imagination to make something that has never, ever existed, right? Just in general, making a game takes a lot of work. But at this point, when it's, you can only do what we have right now. PlayStation has this very time seasons and monetization practices.
And you know why that is? Because they have to continue to make money off the fans that are playing these said games. I told you guys are not the market leader. EA told y'all this a long time ago, and y'all denied it, saying, they still got single player. Yes, and y'all going to still use that argument now. But regardless of that, there's more people playing multiplayer than they're playing single player. Yes, people playing Crimson Desert. Yes, people bought it. But don't deceive yourself and act like people playing that more than Fortnite. We know that. I mean, we're talking about an install base of over 100 million PCs, 30 million Xbox Series S's and X's, and 92 million PS5s, and the game only sold 5 million? I mean, even Witcher did better numbers than that. Y'all like, damn, Gamester. See, I like you because you always keep it realistic. I'm always humble. I'm not saying the game's so bad. I'm just saying as an example. I'm trying to humble your guys' expectations of what you expect that you want to see in the gaming industry. Because the problem is, Expedition sold good. Yes, it did. But really, 2 million? Ask yourself, 2 million with how good that game was? And it only sold 2 million on PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and freaking PC? That's an install base of over 200, 300 million users, and it only walked out with 2 million sales? Y'all like, damn, games. See, that's why I'm not saying the game failed. I know it did it because the budget of the game was enough for the 2 million to take over. But I'm saying, and this is why I always bring this argument, but if it was a AAA, it would have failed like Final Fantasy. Y'all like, damn. Now, I hope that hits your heart. I hope you realize, like, damn, I see what you're saying, Gamester. I see what you're saying. Because if it had, keyword, if it had the budget of a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or a Final Fantasy 16, we'd be out here talking about how that game failed. Like how Square did. The only reason why it succeeded was because of the budget. And then Microsoft threw him a check for the Game Pass. Clearly.
So Shuhei was the kind of guy who was super good at saying,
I don't know nothing about
what
gaming.
This is supposed to be, and I want to help you get it there. There's a whole documentary called Raising Kratos about the making of they had to deal with, right? It is wild to think about this.
Ain't none of this matters because Sony ain't dealing with this right now. And the crazy thing is that Sony was better when they were struggling than when they were successful. Have you noticed that? PlayStation 3 is by far one of Sony's last greatest consoles. It was actually the console that was actually had the Japanese influence. I think Sony's trying to get that back now, but it's obviously Sony of America that's calling all the shots. So technically, Sony of Japan has already completely left the console market. It's like saying, oh, Microsoft of Japan is running their business model. Then you know the system is failing. PlayStation of America, Sony of America is what's controlling the division because they're making money off these third-party games, etc. So it's still profitable. So Sony of Japan's like, okay, let Sony of America, which is not the main source of our company, and let them call all the shots because they're still making us money. They don't care. But Sony of Japan has already left console gaming. That's like saying, yeah, you got Nintendo of America, but Nintendo of Japan is the one that calls the shots for Nintendo of America. So they're still very much in control. The only reason why PlayStation even exists is because of third party and 30%. And Microsoft knows this. Once them hardware sales start depleting and ain't nobody buys PlayStations no more and Xbox makes a more appealing service and platform than y'all, it is done. That's why Microsoft, yeah, keep making more platforms. They don't care if you buy Xbox because Xbox is going to support those other platforms. They don't care. The more Steam machines, the more ROG allies, the more Xboxes, the more PC devices that come out is going to make it harder and harder and harder for Sony to stay afloat. And Microsoft knows this. Once they cut down on them hardware sales, they ain't going to be able to get them 30% and the memberships off you PlayStation users. They might not even get you going in with the next gen. Sony might have to subsidize the hardware $200 less to compete with the new Xbox. Because if it's priced the same, and if it's everything that I'm telling you that the new Xbox PC is going to have, Sony is most definitely in trouble. Because nobody's going to want to pay PlayStation to play third-party games online if you can play them for free on the new Xbox. You people know it. Oh, but then I don't have to buy Game Pass. Well, they're still going to buy it because they're going to get access to 500 games. So they're going to pay for it. Why not? Access to 500 games, free online, Steam, this. Come on, bro. Y'all not seeing the writing on the wall.
This is one of the things that
not seeing it.
Be dealt with. The
y'all don't want to see
dumpster fire that is kind of forgotten now.
Well, biggest dumpster fire. That dumpster had a lot of high quality gold up in there. You call it a dumpster. I call it. It was a gold mine. Because I prefer if Sony's struggling than when they have nothing. Because PlayStation being successful shows me that they're nothing. And I feel like that's the reason why Nintendo is treating the Switch 2 like that. Because there's no desire, there's no push for them to actually make a good quality system. So this just shows you that actually, when things fail, things are actually better. What? Gamester, that makes no sense. Let me explain, right? When the original Xbox was a flop and a failure, the 360 was good. When the PS3 was a failure, the PS3 was good. When Nintendo had to recuperate from the Wii U, the Switch was good. Switch 2 is lazy. I prefer to have a failure. We need more failures. We need more failures in gaming because clearly when systems are failing, they happen to be better. Y'all like, damn. That's such a hot take, but I'm willing to say it because it's true. Think about it. The Wii U was a flop, so Nintendo had to do all their power to make sure the Switch 1 wasn't. Switch 2, they don't got that. They just throwing expansion packs, all this crap, and just banking off the memberships. That's all they doing. Sony doing the same thing. The PS3 was a failure. It was a great failure. And the PS4 was a huge success because they didn't want to relive the era of the PS3. So both of those systems was good because of it. So technically speaking, PS4 was good because Sony didn't want it to be a PS3, so instead they made it better. PS3 personally was good because it was failing and Sony didn't want to lose the market share. So I think I'll take a failure now. I'd rather have a failure system because clearly 92 million successful system don't mean nothing to the gamers. Sorry.
Fired. The idea of Last of Us Online came from Naughty Dog, but Bungie explained what it takes to make a live service game, and Naughty Dog says, oops, we can't do that. If we do that, we can't make Intergalactic.
So they had to choose. They had to choose. It's true. That's what it was. So Naughty Dog wasn't confident in their own game. That just shows you right there. They weren't confident. They went back to focusing on what they're good at, which is single player, which these ponies are out here cheering them for. But like I said, they couldn't allocate the sources to work on both projects. So one had to go. Damn, that sucks. So Intergalactic better be a good game because if it isn't, people are going to be pissed.
Us online and thought it was great. I think this is what Shuhei...
And that's sad. It's sad to know that the Last of Us multiplayer that they had was a good game. That hurts to know. And I believe it. I believe what Yoshida's saying. That's hurt to know. Because to me, it's hurtful because it's a game that we've all could have enjoyed. But nope, it's gone.
Probably did better than anybody else. Is he'd walk in and say, wow, this is a good idea. It's unfinished.
But it probably just wasn't profitable. How are you going to sit there and sell some homeless man looking socks? You know what I mean? You know, a t-shirt. It wasn't. The problem is with the game, they couldn't make it in a way to make monetary value. They could have did it like a traditional Gear. I mean, Gears of War did find its way with the characters and the gun skins. I don't know. They could have did it like how they did with Uncharted 4. I don't know why. I just think it came down to that they didn't have the resources to make both games at the same time. So one of them had to hit the can. And unfortunately, it was Last of Us multiplayer.
Here's how much this will cost. It's not going to work. Can the story be good? Can it be interesting? He pushed games to be great. Even if you don't like some of the decisions he made.
I agree. That's the old school mindset. But unfortunately, the old school mindset is not what makes the money. It is what it is. Because I guarantee it would have been great. But with the Fortnite, can we all agree, would the Fortnite gamer have played it? We know they wouldn't. We know they wouldn't. Let's keep it a buck with our heart, guys. We know it would have been amazing. But would the Fortnite gamer stop playing his game to play that? They wouldn't. And y'all know it. That's why Perfect Dark got canceled. Come on, man. We all know as much as I would have loved to see the game come, there ain't no casuals dropping down to play that. Oh, it's going to be the next greatest thing since Call of Duty. You guys, old heads, y'all need to calm down, man. I know the Unk slop, there's some masterpieces for all the Unk gamers out there, but understand, these casuals do not care. And the funny thing is, they think that I'm against them. I understand. When y'all complaining, I understand your complaints. I'm saying, why y'all crying about it? That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to wake your eyes up so you can see, like, damn, games, you right, though. These Unk slop gamers be thinking I'm against them. Oh, you hating on these games? I'm not hating on them. I am telling you the realization of where gaming is going. I've had people tell me, oh, look at GameStop, he's defending cloud gaming. I'm not defending it. I'm telling you that's where it's going. Y'all want to sit there and get mad at people like me and VG for telling you where gaming is going, and then you want to assume, oh, he's defending that. Nobody's defending it. Nobody's defending these ideas, bro. But I'm telling you, so you can wake the hell up and see that, damn, the gaming industry don't really care about us. Exactly. I would take Last of Us multiplayer than what we ever got from Marathon. But I understand that from a business perspective, Marathon makes more sense to them because they think they can find ways, even though it failed, to find ways to monetize it. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Oh, Gamester, you're defending it. All right, here we go. All right, go ahead.
Probably took way too much time, way too much budget for a game that nobody even remembers exists anymore, right?
Games to win another W. You see how I just said that? And he went as far to... See? Told you. We all know this.
Maybe you could say those are the tiny failings of Shuhei Yoshida, but this is the kind of stuff...
It's not that they're failures. They just don't work in today's gaming market. And that's the sad part about it. That's why people say, you know what, gaming sucks. That's why people have come into the realization to just be like, oh, just play what you want. I don't even care no more, bro. I really don't care. My passion of gaming is long gone. I just play what I want, and that's it.
I feel like is going to be what goes down in the history books as what PlayStation did right.
And guess what? Nobody's going to care. The Fortnite gamer doesn't care. You think the Fortnite gamer is caring about, oh, look at that, Yoshida. If it wasn't for you putting PlayStation on the map, you know, we wouldn't be gaming. They be playing Fortnite on their phone. They be playing Fortnite on their PC. They ain't even thinking of it. They don't even know who the hell this man is. If you put this man as a Fortnite skin, they wouldn't even buy it. What are y'all talking about, bro? y'all like, damn, even if you put this man as a Fortnite skin, oh, Yoshida. Maybe you fanboys would buy it on Fortnite crying about how PlayStation used to be better, but now it's trash.
Shuhei Yoshida. Lately, I've been playing a lot of PlayStation 3. I got a PlayStation 3 actually on eBay. This is totally true. For $60 because it had a broken disc drive, and I just have a bunch of old PlayStation 3 games I bought back in the day. I've been playing PlayStation 3.
Damn, man, you that broke? You couldn't get one with a working disc tray? Damn. Yo, Dream, come on, man. He bought, that's crazy, bro. You want to talk about digital? You out here buying broken PS3 disc? Yo, somebody send this man a real PS3, bro. That's crazy. Damn, you really wanted to get that price low, man. You probably only had to pay like $40 more for a working one. Damn.
So I just basically re-downloaded all my digital purchases from 20 years ago, and I've been playing them. And there's something about the PlayStation 3 that feels so inherently Shuhei. Just so much of just the
feels good. That's the real games.
Cool. Like as soon as you boot it up,
even Dreamcast guys going back to the old stuff. Look at that. Games to win another W. Get every retro game you need, Mr. Dween.
Sound, all the cool layouts, the X-Bar and stuff. And yeah, Shuhei wasn't involved in every single thing about making that console, but they're at the PlayStation 5. The PlayStation 4 had most of that, but we've hit this weird, soulless corporate entity era. The PlayStation 5 does still have good games. I'm not going to pretend that nothing's coming out. I mean, just Friday I did a big review for Pragmata, and
that's not really a game you can count for PS5 because that game came out for everybody, even including Switch 2.
Of that, but that's the thing. Third party is better than it's ever been.
And games to win another W.
First party, provably, measurably, is the worst it will ever be. These have been some.
I told you guys, man. Y'all didn't want to listen to me, man, but it's happy to see that Dreamcast guy hopefully seen the light. We already know that's full of crap. He'll be busy talking about how Xbox is dead for the 200,000 million time volume 999. Right? I mean, at this point, Xbox's Dead Chronicles is longer than One Piece at this point. That's how long this is gonna go with the Xbox's Dead videos. I mean, it's out here beating One Piece in episodes, for crying out loud. Hopefully, guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, gaming is dying for everybody. All you can do is rekindle the love for gaming within yourself by playing your old games and having a good time and getting games on discount. But don't let gaming take the fun away from you because, like Dreamcast guy said, they're still making quality games, but exclusives ain't hitting the same. Third party saving it, double A's, indie games, and that's it. Take care, guys. Peace out.